Hi everybody, welcome to Around the World's Restorative. This is a 45-minute yoga practice focused on relaxing and rejuvenating poses for deep sleep and rest. Suggested props may be 2 folded blankets, 1 bolster or pillow, 1 strap or a scarf, a couple of blocks, and then the optional props would be a sandbag or something heavy to place on the body at the end, and an eye pillow or a towel to place over the eyes in the final position. Once you have all of your props in order, just take a moment to sit comfortably and breathe and center yourself. Depending upon the length of your day, it may take just a moment to come here and be here now. The first pose will be supported child's pose. So bringing your bolster or your cushion in front of you, and then place a blanket to support the knees just behind that, fringe facing the bolster and tucked underneath. Place your shins upon the top of the blanket, ankles wrap over the back edge, and then with the knees just wide enough to slide the bolster between the inner thighs, hug the thighs or hug the bolster with the inner thighs, lift the ribs, take a few breaths, and then begin to spill the upper body down over the bolster. Slide the hands underneath the front edge of the bolster, and then turn your head towards the right to begin, resting on your left ear. Now, before we get deeper into the pose, if it feels like this is a little too low and there is strain in the low back, then place another folded blanket on top of the bolster to bring it up a little bit. Remember that the point of restorative yoga is to reduce or even eliminate stressful sensation in the body so that there is complete opportunity to reset. As you settle in, take just a few deep, directed breaths into the back of the spine. You may imagine the inhale rising up through the central channel of the spine and the exhale pouring like water down over the rib cage, the shoulders, the seat, towards the floor. Once you find a release, a softening in the body, allow your breath to become natural, undirected, and focus on simply resting. This sequence is very specific in that it will prepare most of us, depending upon the intensity of the day, for a deeper sleep. Supported child's pose in particular is a very relaxing shape that has the ability to counteract insomnia, which many of us deal with. And it's very supportive and comforting. It's a good pose if you have any grief as well, just to come into a return to center. The nature of forward folds is the path inwards, that recognition of what's going on inside the body. So remembering just to take a few deep breaths. And then allow your thoughts to be unencumbered, undirected, and to flow. Try not to connect or attach to any particular thought. And if you find yourself going into that storytelling mode, see if you can let that pass and just sit a little bit closer to the center, the seat of the witness. Taking a moment to turn your head to the other side. If your hands are stacked rather than side by side, switch the palm that is on top. And again, you may choose to take a few deep breaths, feeling them spill down the back like water. Notice the sense of comfort that exists here. That hug for the heart. If there feels as if there is some vulnerability in the back of the body that the breath cannot relax or take care of, then you may choose to place a blanket over the back of your body. This will also provide a little warmth. So as we move through these restorative shapes, sometimes the body temperature drops as the nervous system, circulatory system, respiratory systems all come back to more of a peaceful level. Let your abdomen relax completely. Let go of the holding at the lower belly. You are supported here. And to come out of the shape, slide your hands out from under the bolster and gently ground the palms in each knuckle. Keep the head heavy as you press down into the hands to lift the upper body. Take a few moments. And then walk your hands back towards your thighs or knees. Sit upright. The spine tall. Just a moment of observation, feeling the echo of the shape as it resonates through your body, the echo of that moment in time. So much can happen in just a few short minutes. Now moving into the second shape here, slide your blanket forward a little bit, and then place the other blanket on a diagonal at the very front edge of that bolster, so that the tip of the blanket points in and connects with the midline of the bolster. This will be to support the shoulder in your next shape. Start by coming into all fours, just aligning the center of the body over the bolster, and with an inhale, open up the chest, let the belly drop, and as you exhale, round the body, relax the head down, feel the stretch through the back of the heart and neck. A few more rounds here. So inhale, opening the front body, conception vessel, and exhaling, rounding the back body, opening up the governing vessel. These two relate to Sushumna Nadi, or the central axis, at the center of the spine, the spiritual center, the channel, spiritual channel in the center of the body. Also just helps to mobilize the body as you come out of that child's pose and prepare for the next shape. The next shape will be a supported spinal twist, still facing downwards. This pose stretches the low back, the rotators, the quadratus lumborum, and it massages the abdominal contents, the digestive organs. It's really good to increase lymphatic flow. So lifting your hips and placing that right hip about an inch behind the short edge of the bolster. Take a few breaths into your abdomen and rotate the belly with your awareness in your organs a few times with each exhale. As you come down, place your arms alongside the bolster Right shoulder on that blanket. Make sure that the blanket is supporting the shoulder so it doesn't drop more than the left. And then you can choose to rest on your left ear, on your chin or forehead, or on your right ear. I'm choosing my right ear here because it is less of a rotation in my neck, so it's a little more easeful. The legs can be stacked, or you can take the top leg back a little bit so that the thigh bone is reaching directly out of the right hip or the top hip. Make sure that as you come into the shape, you feel completely supported. In each restorative shape, we're here for at least 3 or 5 minutes. So it's important to feel like the shape is holding you. The props are holding you. And that you can move into that relaxed effort, more ease. After a few breaths, just start to let the breath become natural and notice how with your exhale there is a slight hugging in of the belly. Not one that you are forcing, just one that you're observing. And as you inhale, the expansion through the back of the kidneys, the back of the stomach. Let your awareness go inwards on an inward journey. Remember that if this feels too low, you can of course place a blanket on top of that bolster, bringing the floor towards you. The point, and this takes some training for some of us, the point of restorative is not to go to the edge of effort. But to give your body space to release. The shape governs particularly the gallbladder and the liver meridians in the body, if you're familiar with Chinese medicine. And the liver is the seat of human kindness. When we are in disharmony in the liver meridian, there can be a state of excessive anger. So notice what may come up for you in this shape. If you need to take a pause, just return your focus to your breathing. The gallbladder is the yang meridian, the more active to the liver, which is yin. And the positive attributes of that would be courage, the ability to make decisions. And when this is out of balance, we can be really indecisive or easily annoyed. If you're feeling like you need to stay longer, please do. Otherwise, walk your hands back, keep the head heavy as you rise to sit. Take a moment's observation. And then when it feels right, lift the hips, bring the knees underneath the hips again. Just come to sit upright, spine tall, feeling the echo of that shape. Now switching the blanket to the other side so the tip of or the point of the blanket points in. It's like a triangle shape to the blanket. This will support your left shoulder so that the back body is even. Especially if you have mobile shoulders, sometimes that left shoulder tends to drop as you come into the twist on the left side. You want to keep it even so the breath has equal opportunity in the back of the heart. A few cat-cow spinal mobility moments here. The inhale opening the front body, the exhale opening the back body. Keeping just a little pressure through the shins. Spreading the hands wide. If there's one of these shapes, the rounding or the opening in the front body that feels really interesting, I encourage you to stay and breathe there. When you are ready, swing the knees to the right. Bring your left hip down to the floor just in front of the short edge of the bolster. Draw that outer left hip back and away from the bolster. And then rotating from the organs, from the abdominal organs, take a few breaths to come all the way down. Resting onto your right cheek, chin or forehead, or your left cheek or ear. Again, I'm resting on my left here to reduce the effort in my neck. Any history of disc disease, highly recommend finding the most comfortable position for you, which tends to be not rotating the chin to the left. Now you can stack the knees, you can take your right knee back a little bit. If you need to reposition the body to find your sweet spot, please do. And begin to observe the inhale, creating the expansion across the back of the waist, kidneys, back of the digestive organs, gallbladder, the liver, stomach. And then the exhale, there's just this effortless milking of the abdomen as air leaves the lungs. The breath is easy, non-forced. Fingers, toes, tongue, all relax. Listen to your body. Try not to direct how it's supposed to feel, what you're supposed to think, how it's supposed to look or act. Just listen. What is necessary, what is needed by your physical form, so that what it houses, the truth of you, can more easily come forward. That act of listening, doing less, is breeding ground for healing to occur. Energy to move unencumbered. In the stillness, you may notice little pulsations, the dance of life. Let these be curious. Let them draw you deeper and deeper inwards. Stay as long as you like. And when you are ready to come up, place the hands down. Use just the simple strength of your arms to rise. Head slowly floats up last. And a moment of observation. Feeling the resonance of where you have been and where you are. Taking the second blanket that you have placed on the bolster off, and then placing it evenly over the front edge, the front short side of the blanket. Find your strap and create a long loop. If you have a D-ring strap, it's pretty easy. Just place it through one end and then loop it over the second D. And then we're going to move into resting butterfly. This shape, even on its own, as a singular practice, is extremely beneficial. It facilitates the flow of blood, lymph, sends energy to the digestive organs, organs of elimination, reproductive and urinary organs. Opens the hips, groin, pelvic floor. It's good to do in the morning or the evening or any time you feel you need a little rest. I'm taking the least sensational variation here, creating an on-ramp for my bolster by placing one block on the high end and one block on the second level at the back edge of the bolster. Lie the bolster back so it creates about a 40-45 degree angle. Loop the strap over your body so that the back edge of the strap is smooth across your sacrum. Bring the strap over the front, outer and then front of the hips. And then with the legs in a butterfly shape, a diamond shape, place the strap over the ankles and then tighten it to your comfort level. As you lie back, lengthen the tailbone towards your heels and feel the center of your spine roll down along the bolster. You can have that second blanket under your head. Maybe under your neck, you roll it up a little bit more to support the natural cervical curve. If this feels as if it is too intense of an opening in your hips, if you can't bring your attention away from that part of your body, then place towels or blankets or even another set of blocks underneath the center of your outer thighs. If you're using blankets, it will be underneath the center of your outer thighs and your outer shins to lift your hips or your thigh bones up a little bit, reducing the stretch through the inner groin. As you lie back, let the shoulder blades move naturally into the back of the body. So there is a smooth open quality to the collarbones and a smooth open quality to the back of the chest. Palms turn up by the sides, let the elbows relax. If there is a tugging on the shoulder itself, you may bring your forearm up on something higher, like a folded blanket or another couch cushion or pillow. Now, if you feel like this is, if you don't have those blocks and you'd like this to be a little bit more of a supported back bend, then simply keep everything as is, remove the blocks from under the bolster, and lie back. You may choose to scoot your sacrum a little away from the end of the bolster so that it's not such a severe lower back bend. I just like this one because I tend to be a little bit more mobile in my spine, and so I don't want to go into my deepest range. I'd like to stay in the place that's not driven by sensation from that familiar physical place. Let everything relax here. No need to control your breath. The forehead smooth out and the contents of the head drop to the back. Let the dip in the center of your throat soften and widen. Notice that gentle opening, the center of your chest, your yoga heart, your spiritual heart. Breathe into it. Allow the breath to flow there. The breath pour down the spine into the sacral plate and widen across the pelvis. This practice is called around the worlds for many reasons, the simplest of which is that your body is taking all different physical orientations, geographical orientations, if you will. Forward fold, twist, an opening and gentle back bend. And then we'll move into a very subtle inversion to close. But it's also just getting to know that inner landscape, slowing down, letting your awareness move from skin level deep, deep, and deeper. Before moving on, you may choose to place your hands onto your belly or to interlace the fingers, turn the palms over and stretch the arms overhead, feeling the breath move deep into the sides, the seams of the upper body. Bringing the hands down by the side, draw the chin to the chest, press the hands into the floor and lift the spine. Relax the strap or loosen it a bit. Take it off of your ankles and feet, off of your body. Set it to the side. And then bringing the hands under the knees, use your arms to lift your knees towards the ceiling. You can loop your elbows underneath your knees and hold on to opposite shins to round. Or you can just sit up tall. If you'd like a simple fluid movement, holding onto your shins or thighs, you can take a few cat-cow movements of the spine, the same as you did on all fours. Take as long as you need. Nobody says you have to continue. If you have found a place that you want to return to, go there. Something that was interesting and calling to you, go there. Otherwise, start to undo your props. Take the blanket off the bolster. turn the bolster the opposite direction so it's horizontal with the short side of your mat. And then take that second blanket, fold it into a long skinny rectangle on top. The blocks will be support for your heels. The bolster and that second blanket will be support for your calves and the backs of your knees. And then you're going to take the first blanket, fold it into another long skinny rectangle. This will be to support your spine. Okay? So coming out of that slightly bigger back bend into a more subtle one and beginning to move into that subtle inversion. Okay? Have your your sandbag and your eye pillow ready if you're using them. Now, as you come into the shape, bring your knees over the back, or the top rather, of the bolster and blanket. Make sure that your knee curves down the back edge, and then place your blocks so that your feet are inner hip distance apart and the heels are on top of the block comfortably. Lengthen your tailbone towards the bolster. Curl or curve the blanket down along to conform to your low back, and then begin to lie back so that the blanket supports your spine. If you have that sandbag or heavy weight, you can place it over your hips or right across the hip bones. It's a little grounding action. And then lie back, curl the blanket up to support your cervical curve if you need. And then smooth out the eye bag over your forehead, over your eyes. Apply a little pressure there to relax the eye sockets and the brain. Shoulders hug the back body. Arms relax by the side at roughly a 30 to 45 degree angle. Let the back of each knuckle be the same. So if you're resting on your third finger knuckle on the right hand, try to do the same on your left, just creating balance. If you find that your feet naturally want to be wider, like you're having to work to keep them in the same position, then come up out of the pose, reposition the blocks, and lie back down, trying to release any muscular holding. The soft palate becomes very soft, the tongue very soft and relaxed. If the support of the blanket underneath your spine feels a little bit too much like a back bend rather than just a cushion, I'm going to recommend that you take that away. And you can place that over your belly or unfold it and place it over your whole body, because that's where we'll be going eventually anyway. For me, the purpose of having that blanket there is to transition super slowly from that back bend resting butterfly or reclining butterfly into a supported relaxation pose. With the legs elevated, this pose has a very calming effect to the nervous system. It's really good for relieving swelling or fatigue in your lower limbs. It's good if you've been traveling. And it's a nice balance after practicing those forward bends and subtle back bends as well. There's just something so calming about turning the body upside down in a way that doesn't inspire uncertainty or fear, but that feels really supportive instead. There's another way to do this pose, and that requires turning the bolster, the vertical or the from that horizontal position to the long position again, strapping the legs and having them together. I just find that having a slight separation between my legs allows my low back and pelvis to relax a little bit more here, but that's totally up to you. You can try multiple things out to find what works. During this practice, have you had just a moment, and if not, you may do so now, of gratitude for yourself, of extending love and compassion towards yourself? It's a practice all on its own. If we can remember to do that in stillness, eventually we will begin to remember to do that in momentum. It's what we hope for everybody, right? That we love ourselves, and in so doing, we learn to love each other a little more. If you haven't already taken the blanket out from underneath you, start by removing your eye bag. Press your forearms down, tuck your chin, roll up just enough to reach behind you, and slide the blanket out. You can unfold it one time and place it behind your head to support the head and neck so that the head isn't pressing into a hard surface. But keep the alignment of your neck long and natural. Turn the eye bag on top of the eyes, or the towel on top of your eyes, something to block out external light. Aspect of pratyahara, or sense withdrawal. This is the final shape. Bring all of your attention and begin to pour it into the center of your heart. Like honey, like something sweet, into the very center of your heart. Bright, shining jewel the center of your chest, behind the breastplate. Gaze upon this place with love. Holding this space dearly. Take a few deep breaths here and let the breath move from this jewel at the center of your chest out through your body. Feel your belly expand, your ribs. Feel the energy of the breath reach through the heels and the crown of the head. If you have a weight on your abdomen, take it off. Feel a little freedom there. And then to leave the shape, and simply bend your knees, place your feet onto the support of the blanket and bolster. And then roll towards your right side, or whichever side feels natural for you to roll towards. You can place the blanket that's under your head folded again. Fold it a little bit higher and place that underneath the side of your head that's resting towards the floor. Take as long as you need to get here. Maybe palming the eyes once you remove the eye bag or the towel, just a little warmth. Maybe bringing your hands into a prayer at the heart, returning to any intention you may have set for your practice. There is no hurry. We often forget that. And sometimes it can feel like a rebellion in our body to slow down. The more we challenge that, the easier it becomes to just be. From your side lying position, you'll take your top hand and ground it. Keep the head relaxed as you rise up to sit. Then find your chosen seated posture, your asana. The moment, this moment, is a representation of your stance. In not just your practice, but in your life. What is important to you? Return to that now. What is your purpose? Return to that. Namaste. Hopefully, you'll have a beautiful night's sleep.